Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRift NoDQ. I have your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag NoDQ video. No more NoDQ turns 20. NoDQ is 20, so we are using NoDQ video as the hashtag. So keep that in mind. Let's get down to your questions. First one today comes from Boogeyman79. If Matt Hardy becomes WWE Raw GM, how do you think he will do? I think he would do very well if the creative team was able to come up with some unique storylines and give Matt Hardy that outlet to really go all out with the character. I think there's a lot of good possibilities with Matt Hardy potentially as the Raw GM. I think it would make Raw fun. Now, the question is, would it become too much comedy? That remains to be seen, but I think it would open the door creatively and let some new juices flow in. The fact of the matter is that the heel GM storyline is so badly played out, and I think that's a big reason why Baron Corbin hasn't really worked out well as GM. He's done technically a good job, but the whole concept of the heel GM who's corrupt, it's just been done to death. I think with Matt Hardy in charge, if it does happen, it would lead to some perhaps new types of segments and concepts that we haven't seen before. So I'm all for it. I like the idea. Gets Matt Hardy back on television. And the question is, can WWE balance being really over the top with the broken universe and playing it straight with some of the main event storylines and find that happy medium when it comes to Matt Hardy and the Woken character? This one comes from It's the Costanza. Simple question. Where in the blue hell does WWE go from here? They pulled WCW 2001 and Impact ratings in 2018. We always wondered when the day would come. Yikes. WWE is going to the bank. That's where they're going. A lot of people, including myself, compared Raw this week to WCW circa 2000. Now, the big difference is that WCW was bleeding money. They were going downhill business-wise. WWE interest, television viewership, live event attendance, that is all down at this point. However, the big difference between WCW and also Impact Wrestling and WWE is that WWE is still a profitable company. They are still counting all the Saudi Arabia money. Let's be real here. Plus, you have the Fox Network deal, which could be interesting if WWE doesn't get the SmackDown numbers up. But WWE does have that Fox deal, and they were able to get a good deal with USA Network. WWE is remaining profitable. Stocks are up despite business being down in other areas. The fact of the matter is that money is still coming in despite the numbers being down. Now, could this be bad 3, 4, 5 years down the line? Who knows? But maybe creatively WWE will pick things up and get those numbers up. So right now it's too soon to say. The jury's out on it, but they're certainly not in any danger of going out of business anytime soon. Got this one here from KWYR Sports. I think Daniel Bryan should hold the belt well into 2019, have CM Punk return and challenge him as he nears breaking his record as WWE Champion. Your thoughts, and will you be doing a WrestleMania Dream Card video like you did last year? Well, first of all, I like any idea that involves CM Punk coming back. I mean, I'm wearing the shirt right now. CM Punk coming back would be huge business. That would turn things around. I think that would generate a lot of interest, bring back old fans that stopped watching. So any CM Punk storyline would work. Now, let's wake up now from our dream. It ain't gonna happen. CM Punk is not coming back anytime soon, if ever. And every time we talk about it, we're just wasting our breath. CM Punk is very happy doing his own thing. Easy for me to say. And I don't see him coming back anytime soon. But yeah, if I was going to script it, I would love to see CM Punk come back and feud with Daniel Bryan right when Bryan was on the verge of breaking that record. That's an easy story to tell right there. I would definitely do something like that if I had the ability to say, hey, CM Punk's coming back, let's do this. I would be all for it. And as far as a WrestleMania dream card goes, unfortunately, I'm not all that excited about WrestleMania at this point, and I really don't even know what to say about potential dream matches because so many things are up in the air. Roman Reigns is gone. Who knows who's going to win the Royal Rumble? I have no idea at this point, and I really don't care that much. So I really do not have the motivation to do a WrestleMania dream card. I may still do it, but right now, not really feeling it. Maybe I can get the NoDQ panel to help me and we could do a WrestleMania video where we give our dream predictions and our dream matches that we would like to see. Got this one here from LK Mania IL. What are the chances that the TLC triple threat match will also be the main event of TLC? I think Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Asuka deserve to close the event. The match is also expected to be the best of the event. As I mentioned in the predictions video for TLC, I think the odds are highly likely in all likelihood. I would be surprised if that match doesn't main event. I think going in, it has the most interest, and I think it has the potential to be the best match of the night. So if it was me, I would put that in the main event. I know Ronda Rousey's on the card, but she's facing Nia Jax. Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. I hate to say it, as much as I'm a fan of the WWE title going on last, I feel like the women's triple threat is a bigger match at this point. So I think I would go with that, and I would be a little bit surprised to see AJ get the WWE main event spot on a pay-per-view. He just did not get it as champion. Maybe he'll finally get it, but my feeling is it's going to be the women. Becky Lynch seems to be the hottest act in the company, so that's what I would go with. Got this one here from Chris. What do you see Randy Orton doing for WrestleMania and in the future with WWE? Well, this goes back to that previous question about the fantasy card. I look at all the potential opponents for Randy Orton at WrestleMania 35, and I like the idea of Randy Orton versus AJ Styles. We haven't really seen that match, I think, beyond one time on SmackDown randomly. I'd love to see them have a full-blown feud leading into WrestleMania and just have this big epic match between those two. Just let them have their big storyline for WrestleMania. I think that would be a great choice. AJ Styles has been around, but Randy Orton's the one guy he really hasn't had this back and forth feud with yet. So that would be my choice. I think if I was calling the shots here, I would have liked to have seen AJ versus Bryan at WrestleMania, but they're doing that now. So I would say go with Orton versus AJ for WrestleMania. This one comes from Smirtaza. With the year-end awards going on, who do you think should win the Superstar of the Year poll? Again, I wanted Seth to win this time since he had a great year in WWE, but I voted for Reigns to show him some respect for what criticism he has faced in recent years. And he also added #FireVirtue. You could pick up a Fire Virtue shirt over at NoDQ.com/shirts, by the way. So, regarding your question here, my opinion on it is that it should be Seth Rollins. I know a lot of people are voting for Roman Reigns out of sympathy because of what happened, but that's not the reason you should be voting him Superstar of the Year. Considering the fact that he's up for a worst match of the year candidate, worst storyline of the year, I don't know if I would put him as the Superstar of the Year. Same way I disagree respectfully with Eddie Guerrero being voted the 2005 Superstar of the Year. I felt he only won that because he died. If he hadn't passed away, I don't think he would have won that. Probably Batista would have won, or any other number of people. John Cena maybe would have won that year. But Eddie had a great 2005. He had a great 2004 for that matter. But I feel like people should not vote merely out of sympathy. Now, maybe you're voting because you feel like Reigns should have won a previous year, but the fans were so hell-bent on that they did not vote for him. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Reigns wins this year. It's a very interesting race. So if you haven't voted already, head over to NoDQ.com and cast your vote for the Superstar of the Year for both the men and women, and also the other polls. Got this one here from Rollins versus Styles, please. Hey Aaron, congrats on your new relationship. The best of luck to you both. Thank you for that. When I see Lars Sullivan, I cannot help but get a Bruno Sammartino vibe. Would you like to have seen Lars versus Bruno in his prime? I think that Lars Sullivan definitely gives off that old school wrestler vibe. He definitely feels like a 70s or 80s style wrestler with his build. He's kind of built like this gorilla tank. Very similar build to Bruno when he was in his heyday, and similar to a lot of wrestlers of that era. So he is kind of like a throwback. I think that he would have worked out very nicely in that era, and it's only a matter of time before we see how he adapts to being on the main roster. He's done well in NXT, but at the same time, he also feels a little bit off from the overall NXT vibe when you got guys like Ciampa, Gargano, Aleister Black that are doing all these high-impact matches, and then you have somebody like Lars Sullivan who's just more of your standard power wrestler. So it seems like he's not in the right position in NXT, and I think calling him up now was the right decision. The question is, will WWE follow through on all the hype for him, and will they book him like a monster and make him dominant? That remains to be seen. I know some people have gotten like Snitsky vibes from him. I hope he does better than Snitsky. I hope he has a run closer to Bruno than he does Snitsky, but again, only time will tell if he's able to succeed. Maybe he would have been better off in a different era, but one positive is that he does stand out a little bit, and that could help him in the long run. And of course, Vince liking the bigger guys and liking the freaks, such as Lars Sullivan. So we'll see. This one comes from Retirement Will. Is it a good thing to have the main roster world titles held by one person from each brand for 365 plus days, or should they change hands as much as the NXT title does? I think it's fine. I think it is good to have talent hold on to the title for a while to establish the title and make the reigns more memorable. When you have tons of title reigns, they're easy to forget about. You tend to not remember all the details and who held the title, and there's just so much you have to remember. So when there's one person holding the title for a while, it makes it a little bit more memorable, and I do feel like it adds a little bit more prestige to the title when you have one guy who's clearly the best holding the title. But then again, you could argue that anybody could win at any time, and having the title changes makes the shows a little bit more interesting and unpredictable. So I could definitely see both arguments, and I think it's important to really have a balance with that and not have too many title changes, but then on the flip side, not having enough. This one comes from The Heel Player. Would you say this has been the most bizarre year of heel turns? It's like everyone turned heel this year. Nakamura, Becky, Dean Ambrose, Daniel Bryan, Orton, Nikki, Lashley, Nia Jax, Big Show, even I turned heel. Well, one could argue that I turned heel and went back and forth several times this year. I was certainly a heel to quite a few people over on Twitter, but that seems to be a yearly occurrence. It has been an interesting year as far as heel turns go. We have seen quite a few, especially in a short period of time, and I think maybe that was due somewhat to the fact that there were various circumstances that were out of WWE's control, like Roman Reigns getting sick. Maybe Ambrose would have never turned. Maybe that would have been held back for a later date. You had the whole thing with Nia Jax punching Becky Lynch, and that led to Daniel Bryan turning heel. And Becky went back to being a face. So we've seen a lot of turns. Bobby Lashley, of course. And then, of course, Big Show is just Big Show. And we see that time and time again. So nothing new there. But yeah, I think it would be good to slow down a little bit, even though there are a few guys that I still think could benefit, like Bobby Roode. I think for the most part, WWE should slow down with the heel turns heading into 2019 and take a little bit of a break. Maybe do Roode and one or two other people. This one comes from Jeffrey. Hey Aaron, I hope life is treating you well. Do you think WWE missed a chance to do a triple threat title match between The Rock, Steve Austin, and Triple H at WrestleMania 17? That did not happen as advertised at the 99 Survivor Series, considering Triple H beat Austin 2 out of 3 falls and no way out. I think in hindsight, it would have been a good idea and not turn Steve Austin. But the thing is, traditionally, one-on-one matches, at least during that era, those matches drew better on pay-per-view than triple threats. And you have to keep in mind that the previous year at WrestleMania, we had a triple threat match that was turned into a fatal four-way. So I think WWE did not want to repeat that by doing another multi-man match in the main event. I think they felt it was stronger, and I believe overall, rightfully so, that it would be better to do a one-on-one main event. Austin and Rock were both hot. They were both faces. I think the real problem was that Steve Austin turned heel, and that just watered down the whole thing and was a sour note on what was probably the greatest WrestleMania of all time, arguably. I still like 19 better, but I think a lot of that is due to the Austin heel turn. If you take out the Austin heel turn, I would say 17 was the best one. And then, of course, you had Triple H and Undertaker, and that match was really solid. So, mixed feelings on that one. But yeah, I am a little surprised that WWE never did follow up on that storyline and actually give the fans that triple threat Austin, Rock, Triple H. I don't think it ever happened. I don't remember it. Perhaps it did, and I'm just having a foggy memory here, but I don't think they ever did it. And I think it would have been an interesting pay-per-view main event. Maybe not WrestleMania. Maybe they could have done it for a different one. But the circumstances and timing sometimes just doesn't work out. That'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ Video. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for WWE TLC coverage, and I will see you guys next time.